Hi! Again, it's Classics with Kelsey and Sarah. Welcome back. And today we're talking about Shirley by Charlotte Brontë.
Yeah. So this was the first book we read that I really felt was us really diving into the deep end of classics for me, since I'd already loved Jane Austen and Louise May Alcott, so this really did feel like the first really dive in. And you'd read some.
Yes, I had read Jane Eyre by Charlotte Brontë, and I really enjoyed it, so I was anxious to read more by her, and so Shirley just kind of seemed like the next logical choice.
Yeah, so I was actually really surprised how much I enjoyed this story. This was one of those that just, like, I started out, I wasn't sure how I was going to like it, and of course, yeah, like I said, it felt like diving deep into the pool, and I really enjoyed the story. Of course, as you already knew, she's a phenomenal writer.
She is. Just the way that she develops characters is so rich, just really getting into their minds and their personalities and making them seem like real people, not just surface individuals, but just so that you can really understand what's going on in their minds, and each person is so distinct from each other.
And so actually the main character in this was Caroline. Carolina?
I think it's
Caroline. Yeah, Caroline. So, which was sort of interesting. Shirley's her best friend. It kind of ends up being the kind of a sister to her. And both of them were very unique in characters.
Yeah, very different from each other. Caroline's kind of a shy, timid girl, and Shirley is actually a landowner, which was unusual for the time period. I think, well, Charlotte Brontë wrote it around 1840 something, I want to say, and but she said it about 30 to 40 years earlier in the early 1800s, and so so Shirley was kind of an unusual person in that she was an actual landowner, and usually that was fulfilled by men, but there weren't any men in her family, so
and kind of Caroline is sort of, I also felt like she doesn't really know much about life or the world, and so, and she really looks up to Shirley because she does know a lot and is a little bit more secure in herself. And whatnot. And she just has such a way with words. Charlotte does. Just like, it was just very beautifully descriptive and really captured a lot of emotion.
Yes, it did. And, and she also described a lot of the historical things, that there were so many things going on.
Yes.
There was the Napoleonic Wars, and there was conflicts between mill owners and the workers, and just different things about the classes.
I think one of the things, though, that was kind of a little bit confusing at first about this book is it opens up with the four men who end up having nothing to do with the story. That was the weird thing.
It was a weird thing, and I think I read somewhere that her publishers wanted her to cut that out.
Yes.
Which I would have agreed with now.
Yes. But, I think it kind of, she was trying to set up some of the times and the feel of it. It just, it would have been better to skip that and move right into meeting Caroline and Shirley.
I agree, because as soon as we met these the female characters in this story, the story really picked up and really became interesting, and there were some cool plot twists that we weren't expecting. And
definitely they kept on toes, and I think just the thought, because Caroline really likes a guy, but he doesn't seem interested in her, and I think that's something a lot of girls can relate to. So definitely pulls in a lot of emotion. And you get the idea that Shirley has some of that too. She just is not as vocal about it.
Yeah, it's true. And and the other thing we noticed was the male leads in this story were not quite as well developed as the female leads.
Yeah, in fact, we had to relook in the back to remember that it was Robert and Louis.
Yeah, we couldn't even remember their names.
Because the girls really do dominate the story.
Yeah, they do.
I think the only other thing that I remember I found out, and I think you did too, is that the ending seemed like very rushed.
Yes, it did, and which was unfortunate because you kind of, it was such a long story,
Yes.
and you would like to see it a little bit more.
A few more chapters.
A few more chapters, yeah, and but that also is a testament to what a good book it is, because when it's a long book and you're like, oh, I don't really want this to end. I mean, that's really saying a lot.
Exactly, because some books, even if they're good, you're just like, oh, when is it, I'm ready for it to kind of be over. Yeah. But this one definitely was like, wait a minute, I'm missing some chapters. Yes. Not that it didn't wrap up the story, but she felt like you had missed the transition.
Yeah, so that would have been good, but overall, it was an excellent read.
Yes. Yeah. And then I think next time we're going to be talking about 2 books by Robert Louis Stevenson, actually.
Yes.
So that should be fun.